In this video we are going to render out a AOVs set into a single file containing all AOVs passes. So this file, we have already set up a group of AOVs. I have an ambient occlusion, a diffuse, specular, subsurface scattering, transmission, and I'm going to right now, if I go look at them, I'm just gonna verify that when I render them out, they do what I want them to do. So this one contains the image, the background plane, and the beauty, and the diffuse does not have it, but the beauty shows the image plane. So I'm not sure I want to keep it. So I'm going to actually remove the image plane. So I'm going to click on the image plane. You can see it's highlighted there, and I'm going to grab my hypershade, and there it is under my cameras. Graph it there, and I'm going to go and disconnect it so that I don't have a image plane back there for sure. Now I'm going to, right now I have all of it set up. I'm going to just go to my command attributes and have a name for it. And when I have an EXR format, I do not want for a combined AOV file, I do not want it to be tiled. I want it to be merged AOVs. I'm going to use the output transform. I'm going to keep it this number and extension in that order. I'm going to render out frames, let's see, 45 to 46, just to test out this one. You probably first render out the whole thing. 45 to 46. And I'm going to keep render camera 1. And the HD 1080 is my formatting. I'm going to go to my camera values. I'm going to say 5, 4 in diffuse, 2 in specular, 2 in transmission, 2 subsurface, and 0 in volume. And other than that, I'm just going to save my file. And now I'm going to put it to render under my rendering menu set. Render sequence. I'm going to open it up. Camera 1 is the correct one. I'm going to label all layers, render all cameras. I'm going to add the render view, and I'm going to just submit to render. That way it launches. And we're just going to wait for a few seconds for it to start rendering. The little noise that we see there is a little bit of a piece of geometry that was left from my rig that my character had some little glitch there, so I'm going to ignore those for now. So I see my file is rendering, and it seems to be rendering correctly. That is the diffuse pass. So I'm going to let it render, and then I'm going to go to After Effects when that's done. Okay, so my render finished my frames, and I can see that it rendered my my diffuse color with shadow included, but there's one thing that I want to share with you, and that is that when I open my files here, they're the two frames that they're rendered with the name ambient occlusion in them. They came with 162 K for each one of them, megabytes. So they're huge, and so imagine rendering a whole sequence is going to take forever. So we want to re-render these ones, and I'm going to re-render them. And the reason for that those files to be so large is because I had the compression to be none, so files were very large. So actually I need to have them on zip. Keep merging AOVs, and I'm going to resubmit them now. I'm going to actually resubmit just 2 different frames. That way I can make a comparison between this ones and the other ones. So I'm going to say 47 and 48, and I'm going to save my scene, and then I'm going to just submit the render sequence one more time. So that's rendering again, and I'll show you at the end of it how it looks. Okay, we just finished the sequence again. So now I'm gonna get to look at the file. So you see that the ones that were not compressed are 162K, and then the other ones that are compressed is 16,000K. So 162,000 versus 16, so it's 10 times smaller when you zip zip file. So I'm gonna erase the large ones because I don't want to use those. I might be using this two in my After Effects compositing. Okay, I came here in After Effects. I'm going to create a new project, and this new composition, this new project, I'm going to make it actually in HD, 24 frames per second, 24 frames here. I'm going to make it very, very short because I just have 2 frames. So I'm going to say 1 second and 2 frames there. And then I'm going to make background completely black. Which doesn't matter really. But I'm going to say OK. That creates my composition. And we'll go back there. And I'm going to import my files. And I'm going to start by importing the background. That is my background. I'm going to just write file import my EXR files. There they are. They came with the name of ambient occlusion. I'm going to make sure those are our sequence. I'm going to import those. They are showing up there. So now I'm going to just grab my background warehouse, put it in my frame, and then I'm going to grab my frames. I'm going to put them right where they need to be. So they are there. And now we are going to simply break it apart using under the effects. I'm going to type extract to look for the extractor. There is extract, which is king with the different extractor. I'm going to grab extractor. I'm going to put it right on top of my layer that came from Maya, and that one creates a darker version of it here. And of course it changes here under the effects window. So I'm going to click on the red, green, and blue, and that launches the extractor plugin. I'm going to start by clicking diffuse. I'm going to keep diffuse OK like that. Diffuse A. That makes it darker, and as you see it, it feels too dark. If you test just to increase the exposure and just to see it, you'll see that it is not too dark. It's just that it is very, very, very I'm sorry, it's not completely black, but it's just too dark. So I'm going to just go to 0 here, and then we are going to add on top of it another layer or another filter better. This one's going to be exposure. There it is. I'm going to grab it and put it right on that layer again, and that exposure I can change my gamma correction to 2.2. that way it brings me my file back to what I wanted. Now I'm going to grab this layer. I'm going to duplicate it, and then that duplicate I'm going to click and change. I'm going to use for that one the specular one. Specular, I'm going to say OK, and that gives you your specularity, and you can go and fine tune that one if you want to. For now I'm going to keep it like that. Then I'm going to duplicate this one again. I'm going to say Control D to duplicate it, and this one I'm going to just go and click and change from specular to a subsurface scattering. I'm going to say OK. That one does it, and then I'm going to change the mode from normal to add. You can see it right there. Just add it on top, and then I duplicate this one again. Sorry, Control D, and that one is going to be changed from subsurface scattering to transmission. I'm going to say OK, and that one again is add. So I go those. So right now it feels a bit dark. The specularity is adding a bit more to it, so I'm going to change specularity from normal to add just to brighten it up a little bit, and then you can just try to make it so that it is different. You can change and you can play with different versions. You can try to do screen maybe, or you can try to do any of the other options that you have here. I think add does the job nicely. You can also play with the opacity of it in case it's a little too much. I'm going to keep it at 100%. You will see that because my render was you can see some noise here, and that's because my my sampling in Maya was a little too low. Okay, so with this I have just 2 frames here. Of course you will have to render the whole sequence, but I can see that this is doing the fact that I wanted to do. Alright, that's pretty much all that you wanted to do for this, and hopefully this will give you a good guide to work with AOVs all under the same file.